Nigerians, good morning Nigerians, good morning everyone. It's time for the program Nigeria Today, a news and current affairs program that looks at trending issues. And this morning we shall be looking at yet another trending issue, and of course it has to do with the federal government initiative on the Nigerian for Women project, which is a 5-year project of the federal government of Nigeria with support from the World Bank. The project is supporting the Nigerian government's goal of ensuring gender equality and improving the economic achievement by using methods that contribute to women's sources of income, the well-being of the individual household and the communities at large. Of course, this program, which has been on since last year?
No, 2018.
Since 2018, has also been sustained by the government of Alhaji Ahmed Tinubu, and of course the idea is to ensure continuity and to see the extent to which women can be empowered, especially the rural woman who is always at the cradle of economic activities. And this morning I have with me officials of the Nigerian for Women project, Niger State chapter. First, we have the state project coordinator, Malam Mohammed Sarki Bello, and also Aishatu Yunus Amarafa. She's the head of operations. And we also have Malama Habiba Umar. She's the head of behavioral and communication change advisor. And together we shall be looking at the activities of this project, the achievement recorded so far, the challenges being faced, and of course the projection going forward. This shall be the focus of this discussion this morning. You can join us later on our regular number 09038 808883. You can equally view us live on our Facebook page on Prestigefm91.7mx. You can also view us on our YouTube page, Prestigefm91.7mx, as well as on radio app on prestigefmradio.org.ng. Good morning, Malam Mohammed Sarki Bello, Malam Aishatu, and Malam Habibu Umar.
Good morning, and thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. The Nigerian for Women project, you said it has been there since 2018. What can we say were the main objectives, first and foremost, of setting up the Nigerian for Women project before we delve into some other aspects?
All right. Thank you. Good morning, listeners. As Dr. Antala has mentioned, the Nigerian for Women project is a federal government project with support from the World Bank. It's a project that was supposed to have started implementation in 2018, but due to the outbreak of COVID-19, implementation could not start until 2020, thereby losing 2 years to the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic, as it were. The project was put together to address systemic issues that have relegated women over time. And in the present phase, which is the pilot phase, there are 6 states that are presently implementing the project in Nigeria. And each of these states is representing one of the 6 geopolitical zones of the nation. We have Abia State representing the southeast region. We also have Akwa Ibom State representing the south-south. We have Taraba State representing the northeast. We have Kebbi State representing the northwest. And then we have Niger State representing the north central. And then lastly, there's Ogun State representing the southwest. So by this, you can see that there's an even spread among the nation's 6 geopolitical zones. And just like I have mentioned earlier, the project was supposed to run for 5 years, but due to the outbreak of COVID-19, implementation could not start until early 2020, and which brings us to having 3 years of implementation. Now, just as the project was equally spread among the nation's 6 geopolitical zones, in the implementing states, the project was also spread among the 3 senatorial zones of the participating states. In Niger State here, we have Agai local government representing the Zone E senatorial district of the state, where we have Gurara local government representing the Zone B, and Wushishi local government representing the Zone C senatorial district of the state respectively. And conversations and arrangements have advanced to scale this project to the 25 local government areas. The Niger State government has done commendably well to meet all the criteria and requirements that are necessary for the scaling of this project to the 25 local government areas. Niger State government was either the first or the second to pay the mandatory counterpart funds that is required for the scale-up implementation of this project. As at today, there is about 28 states that are going to be participating in the scale-up of this project. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. One of the issues that you have just addressed is ensuring that women are empowered in all of these captured areas.
Yes.
Now, apart from empowering women, what other objectives were there to be achieved by this project?
Okay. The Nigerian for Women project looks at women empowerment from a holistic view. It's not like the normal empowerment that have been done previously, where women are just given some sort of bumper gadgets and a token for them to go on a business venture. The Nigerian for Women project looks at it in a more holistic view, in the sense that, first of all, there was an incisive study that was commissioned to first of all understand how what are the foundational issues that have relegated women and have stopped them from contributing their quota to the GDP of the state and the nation. And part of the findings of this study is that we have issues of social norms, where these norms, social or cultural norms, where these norms have relegated or denied women the opportunity to make their own contributions to the GDP. We also have other issues like the GBV that is prevalent in the communities, which is an offshoot of the economic situation of households, and so on and so forth. So after this incisive study was done and these findings were made, the Nigerian for Women project was put together to address these issues through 4 strategic components. The first one is building social capital. When we say building social capital in the project, it simply means that it's a way that these women are impacted with incisive trainings that impact on their agency. They are formed into groups, and these groups are groups of like mind of these women in the communities. And we do this through the women affinity groups. Now, to belong to a women affinity groups, there are basic criteria that a woman must have or possess before he or she will belong to a women affinity group. First off, she must be of 18 years and above, and then she must also have an income generating activity. And this is because they meet on a weekly basis, where they make weekly contributions to a common pool of funds. And it is from this pool of funds that these women are given routine loans among members of the group. Now, when they take these loans, it is with the belief that they would use these loans to improve on the capital of their businesses. And then by so doing, whilst they are doing that, they are also continuing with their weekly contribution. and this goes on for a period of 52 weeks, which forms a cycle. A cycle. And during these 52 weeks, they are given weekly trainings by the project facilitators, and the trainings are basically 5. We have the first one, which is the financial education, and there's the business skills, there's the gender, then there's the livelihood programs, and there's the gender and life skills, and then we have the grievance redress mechanism. These are curriculums that were meticulously put together to address issues that will alter the way these women manage and run their micro businesses, as a way to position these businesses for more profits and more agency on the part of the women.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me come back to other officers. Hajia Aisha, you are the head of operations. What were the modus operandi of the Nigerian for Women project? How did you operate in terms of what are the criteria that are used to capture women? Are they individually, or do they have to be in group? And then are there specific trades, or generally whatever kind of economic activities they are involved in?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Antala. Just like my PC have just mentioned, that these women needs to be economically active in terms of having their livelihood activities individually. And for a woman to be a member in Nigerian for Women project, she must have a livelihood activities, a petty trading that she's into before being a member of a WAG group. We have this group that is called WAG. In the process of group formation, these women must come together willingly within the community. A member cannot come from another community to join a work group in a particular community. So these women, we believe they live together, they know themselves, so they mobilize themselves and then come together from different economic activities. So they form a group of not less than 15 and not more than 25 members. So when a woman is into this affinity group, they save, they make weekly contributions within themselves, depending on the capacity of a particular woman, what she's earning from her daily activities. So their normal contribution is 200 naira per stamp. For 5 days is 1,000 naira. So depending on how she's able to meet up with her daily activities, if she can be able to pay for like 2 or 3 or 4, 5 stamps, she's allowed to do that. Then before forming this group, we go through the community leaders. We have a lot of sensitization, and then the community leaders will now help us in mobilizing these women to sensitize them on these projects. And then the women came in willingly to form their groups through our guide. We guide them, and then we also mentor them on so many trainings, because we cannot just build women financially. We also have to build them mentally, emotionally, and then so that they will have the knowledge of guiding themselves within the group, and then achieve whatever they need to be achieved.
So if I understand you very well, one of the major criteria is joining an affinity group.
Yes.
For a woman to stand as a beneficiary, she must have belonged to a group.
Yes.
And you have talked that a group must not be less than 15 and must not be more than 25.
Yes.
Then with this, it means that you can have more than one group in one community.
Yes, certainly.
Even up to 10, depending on the numbers of women that are willing to join.
And then provided, again, a woman has to be 18 and above.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, let me come to Madam Habiba. You are the advisor on communication change affairs. Over the years, we've seen most women, especially those in the rural environment, have not been able to have access to basic information about things like this. What were the ways that you have followed to ensure that women in rural communities are adequately informed and such that they are able to key into these projects?
Good morning, listeners. So some of the strategies we took to inform women about the Nigerian for Women project, as the head of operations has mentioned, we went through the community. The project uses existing structures in the community, traditional leaders, religious leaders, and some gatekeepers. So they were fully sensitized on this, and also they went further to sensitize women on this. Then we have had several meetings with the women during their group meetings, village meetings, and all that. So officials come and explain to them, and most of them picked interest and joined the group. Then other informations, like after joining the women affinity groups, then their minds are open now to new innovations, new thinking, and doing things better. So most women are open to all this, and they are willing. Whenever there's any message, we take it to them through their women affinity groups, because we have their facilitators in the wards that visit their regular meeting weekly, and they disseminate such information. And they're also advised to be on their radios and all that. So they are all open to different information.
Okay, Madam Sarkibeli, as if you want to add something?
Okay, let me give a rider to what Madam Habiba has said. Before we venture into any community, we do a mapping of stakeholders. We call it a stakeholders analysis. This is where we identify who will form the critical stakeholders we need to penetrate a particular community or local government, as the case may be. And we do this analysis on a case-by-case basis. We don't just like go to a community or a particular LGE and just assume we can just assemble women and talk to them and begin to address them. No, we carry out a stakeholders analysis, and then it is based on the findings of this stakeholders analysis that we're able to identify that, okay, for this particular local government area, communities, we are going to need stakeholder A, B, and C. For example, in Agay local government, based on the finding of our stakeholders analysis, we were able to come up with the realization that we need the traditional and religious institutions. And these were the two platforms we used to present this project to the women. We made a courtesy visit to His Royal Highness the Emir of Agaye, and we were well received in this palace. He had his council of chiefs there to receive us, and we presented it through a community engagement activity. And it was after that they both understood the project and what the project has come to achieve in the communities. And then through his council of chiefs, the women were mobilized, and then the project facilitators were recruited. And because they are resident in these wards of the local government areas and the communities, it was easy for them to mobilize these women into affinity groups. So the stakeholders for each local government are critical partners, and it's not like a same stakeholders for all the LGEs or the communities. Like I mentioned earlier, that of Agaye was basically the traditional and religious institutions. For Wushishi local government, we had to engage and fraternize with women groups, market women associations, widows associations, tribal associations. And that is because Wushishi local government is cosmopolitan in nature. Exactly. It's not unlike Agaye, where we just had to deal with just the traditional and religious institution. In Wushishi, the stakes are quite different. So we had to hobnob with the tribal associations, market women associations, the widows associations, and so on and so forth. And then for Gurara local government, which is also similar to that of Agayi, we also had the traditional institutions, but not the religious institution. We also had to do with farmers associations, women farmers and women associations, so on and so forth. So each local government and community has its own peculiarity that must be reckoned with. If you don't reckon with them, your whatever it is, your objectives may not be achieved.
Okay, sustainably, let us look at the entire project itself. You said it was initiated in 2018. The COVID-19 came to pose as a challenge, and then it continued. What role has the present government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu played in the sustenance of this project, since it's a project that came before this administration?
Yes, shortly before the end of the last administration, President Muhammadu Buhari has signed and presented it to the National Assembly for the scale-up implementation of this project. And this is because of the successes that were achieved in the present phase. So what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing at the moment is simply to continue from where the former President Muhammadu Buhari has done. In Niger State, where is our constituency here, His Excellency former Governor Umar Mohammed Bago has done commendably well to support the project in ways that has never been done before. Where in the last component of the project, which is the livelihood collectives, and which involves construction of factories and equipping them for these affinity groups to use for their livelihood activities. So the governor, His Excellency, has supported this component with a budget that has never been done before, and by the time this is implemented, the women will have an economic platform to thrive, to contribute to the GDP of not just Niger State but Nigeria, and also by so doing not only have their livelihood or source of livelihoods improved, but will be beneficiaries of the active role they will be playing in the Niger State economy.
Okay, when you look at Niger State, for example, most women, especially those in the rural environment, mostly engage in agricultural produce trade.
Yes.
Such as maybe granite, and they process it into the kuli. We talk about extracting the granite oil, and then rice processing too, shea butter processing, and all of that. Now you have just talked about setting up small factories for these women. Some of this equipment that you intend to provide for them so that they should be able to have a much more improved method of processing most of these things, thereby improving their income as well.
Yes, I will defer to my head of operations to speak about the collective before I provide answers to your question.
Okay.
Thank you. Just like I've explained earlier, the affinity groups of 15 or 25 members were aggregated to a particular group again, which is called the collectives.
Okay.
This collective is an affiliation of the work groups coming together of women that are into the same value chain livelihood activities, which is called the collective groups. And this collective group has 200 members, up to 200 members, not less than 150, not more than 200. So these women came together running the same livelihood activities, just like you've mentioned, the rice processors, the granite processors. If they are into rice processors, they mobilize themselves based on the proximity of their communities. They come together, form a collective in a particular ward. Then for Niger State, we have 41 collectives. We have 13 in Gurara, 16 in Agaye, and then 12 in Wushishi local governments. Then 32 collectives are into rice processing. 8 collectives are into groundnut processing. Then 1 collective from Esugaye Agaye are into shea butter processing.
Okay.
So these women, like I've said, they've been mentored from the affinity group. They've gone through several trainings, life skill trainings, financial inclusion, and other trainings that will build their knowledge and then also expose them to markets, different markets, in terms of taking out their livelihood activities. Then the collective groups now, these women are coming together. They have come together to participate in their production collectively. For those that are into rice processing, this is where the issue of machines now coming in, just like my PC have mentioned. Our able governor, farmers governor, Governor Umar Mohammed Bago, has stepped into these projects 100%. He's there with the women, just like he have mentioned. He will always support women, and he has done it, and he has even shown the women in Gurara, where he has visited one of our collective in Tufa local government, and have seen what these women are into. And that was where he became so much interested in this project, and he has given a lot of support, and he will still be giving as promised by him.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Madam Sarki Bello.
Okay, just like she mentioned, a collective group is made up of between 150 to 200 women. Now, the project didn't select the value chain with which to establish these factories for these women. It was the women on their volition that chose a particular line of value chain businesses. And just like was mentioned earlier, 32 of these groups are into rice processing. You have also noted that earlier on, in which you mentioned that the women are basically into groundnut farming and processing, and then rice processing as well. So 32 of these collective groups are into rice processing. We have 13, all the collective groups in Gurara local government are into rice processing. We also have 16 collective groups in Agay local government. 8 are into groundnut, and then we have like 4 that are into rice, and then 1 is into shea butter. And we have 12 groups in the Wushishi local government that are also into rice and groundnut. So the intervention will be in the form of establishing a factory that will be used by these women to process either rice, groundnut, or shea butter, as the case may be. And this will be done to enable them process more tons of their agricultural produce. And by so doing, it avails them the opportunity to make more money from that activity. And the Niger State government didn't only support these women by way of provision of, no, it also created platforms, encouraged platforms where these women can be able to have their processed goods purchased by the state. We have, like was mentioned earlier, His Excellency the former governor paid a familiarization visit to a women affinity group in Tufa local government area, and he paid in Duko in Tufa ward of Gurara local government area, where he also made a contribution into a particular affinity group, and his name is there in their register as a member of that affinity group. And on that particular day, he promised that the first factory that will be established under this project will be established in that ward, because the practicality of what these women were doing was displayed on that historic visit. The women conducted themselves to hold their weekly meeting before everyone that was there, with no any kind of support from any either officers of the state or even the project work facilitators. And these are part of the gains that the project has achieved in the 3 years of implementation. The first being that the project was able to facilitate the financial inclusion of 75,545 women. Before then, none of these women, with the exception of just one woman in Gurara local government, 75,544 women had no bank accounts. It was this project that facilitated their having these bank accounts.
It was even the question that I had wanted to ask you.
Yes.
But again, you have provided an answer to it, because everything today is being done through the medium of banking.
Yes.
And some other digital information system.
Yes. So of the project beneficiaries, only one woman had a bank account at the time of, paying them individual grants. So the project had to facilitate the account opening of these 75,000 women so that they can have these bank accounts through which their grants will be paid. And then from that very moment, they began to interact with these financial services that are being provided by the bank. Before then, none of that was being done by these women.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Malam Mohammed Sarki Bello, the State Project Coordinator, Nigeria for Women Project. And you can join us through the number 09038 or you visit our Facebook page on Prestigefm91.7mx. Okay, Malama Aisha Yunusa, there are part of the project approach has been divided into about 4 components, I believe. They said phase 1 has to do with building social capital, and then the livelihood programs, and then we also have the innovations and partnership, and then lastly we have project management and monitoring, evaluation and learning. These are the 4 components. How were you able to achieve these 4 components in these women who at the point of contact have no simple things such as bank account? You are meeting a woman with her business activities and is raw when it comes to issues of data provision, such as bank account and some other. How were you able to bring them in and even capture a lot of their data information? Maybe.
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, at the point of paying grants to these women, we discovered that none of them had any bank accounts. Only one member of the affinity group in Gurara LGE had a bank account with First Bank. So what the project simply did was to invite a commercial bank where the project funds are domiciled, to say that we are on the verge of paying grants to 75,500 women and they don't have bank accounts. How can you help us to facilitate account opening through which their grants will be paid? And this commercial bank stepped in and went to the 3 LGEs to open bank accounts for these women. And it is through these bank accounts that the livelihood support grants were paid into. Now, you talked about the livelihood component. It basically has 2 programs there. The first one being the individual grants, and it is the individual grants that pays a non-refundable grant to these women who are the beneficiaries of the project. But before then, there are also criteria that must be fulfilled by these women. The first being that a woman or a potential beneficiary must be of 18 years and above. She must also belong to an affinity group. She must also have an income generating activity that forms her source of livelihood. She must also be trading in a business venture that is considered legal or lawful in the eyes of the project. you cannot belong to an affinity group and say you are going to be doing your weekly contribution from proceeds of prostitution or child trafficking. These are all illegal economic ventures that forms part of the negative lists in the lens of the project. So this cannot be used as a basis to join these affinity groups. So like I mentioned, a woman must be of 18 years of and above. She must have an income generating activity. She must belong to an affinity group, and she must have undergone the 5 project trainings. And each of these trainings was put together to give these women tactical abilities on how to manage their businesses as a way to make them more profit oriented and more sustainable.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Mohammed Sarki Bello. We have the first caller. Okay, 09038808883 is the number to call in and join us on this discussion. And we have another caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Antola.
Good morning, sir.
Guest, good morning and you are welcome.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
This is Baku Wakili Njiki.
Okay, go ahead, Baku Wakili.
Dr. Antola, it is a very laudable project. It's a project that is promoting the economic life of the women in Niger State. But here I want to make things from where I am. Because the women, we have an association of women who are into rice milling, food vendor, tea trading in the community, simply because of the presence of Federal University of Technology. Hello?
Yes, we are with you. But Baku Wakili, you heard that the project is meant for now as a pilot project to capture only 3 local governments, 1 from each of the 3 senatorial zones. In Zone A, it is Agaye, Zone B is Gurara, and then Zone C is Oshishi local government.
I'm aware, Dr. Tatola. Okay. I want to, it will be expanded after the pilot project. I believe when it by the interest of people, it will be extended to other local governments.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I want to make case so that our own women too will see the light of this great project.
Okay, thank you so much, Baku Wakili.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Baku Wakili. Like I mentioned earlier, the Niger State government has fulfilled every criteria for the scaling up of this project to the remaining 22 local government areas. And I can give you the assurance that before the end of this year, there will be Nigerian for Women project in the 25 local government areas.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
This is Muhammad.
Okay, from where?
From Kwakungu.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
This program I did, we did this program, I think that was 2019, because I'm also part of this program.
Okay.
So we did this program. We are many, and they have a largest government program. So, but up to now, they promised us that they will give us starter pack, and up to now, nothing has done. Since 2019.
You say you are part of this program?
Yeah.
Are you a woman?
Thank you.
I'm not a woman, but I think they catch this program based on all, both women and men.
They said Nigeria for Women projects.
Okay.
So
I thought
you may have participated in another program and probably mistaken it for this one.
Okay, I was thinking it's YESO program they did.
No, not YESO.
And moreover, the program is not yet in Chenchaga local.
It's not yet in Chenchaga.
Exactly.
And the beneficiaries are women, strictly.
Strictly women.
Yes, strictly women.
Okay, we have a message here from Jafar Ibrahim Bindiga. He's saying, good morning, Nigerians, and good morning, the guest in the house. I am thrilled to share my emotion with you on this particular program. Meanwhile, I would want to wish the coordinator and members a success and smooth riding in this course. May Allah be your guide as you embark on this journey and focus on the women project. Anything concerning women is futuristic and should be encouraged. May this yield positivity. Thank you for your time and good morning once again. I think this is an encomium coming from Jafar Ibrahim Bendiga. Yes, okay, let's go back to the, okay. 09038808883 is the number to call in and join us on this discussion. And we have another. Okay. We hope to get more callers. But meanwhile, you have reached the final phase of this project?
Of the pilot scheme.
Of the pilot scheme.
Yes.
And then when is the next phase?
The next phase for the existing states until this present phase is completed, and we're hoping to wrap it up by June this year.
Okay.
But for the new states that are joining the scale-up, it could even be by next month.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Malama Aisha. Now that for this phase you are approaching the end point, how do you intend to start the mobilization for the next phase, since you don't need to wait for until when things are already heating up before you continue? What preparations are you making?
Okay, thank you, sir. Now we are in Prestige Radio, and I want to believe that everybody, any Nigerians listening to Prestige Radio, and the sensitization is already going on, because people are already aware of this project. In fact, people are calling us from various local governments, asking us when are we bringing in this project for them. And there are people that have already have the knowledge of how this project is being operated. And to our surprise again, there are people that have started operations independently on their own. They've started forming groups even before the project gets to them. Women have started mobilizing themselves. So the sensitization is already going on. The women are current. They have access to informations. They have access to whatever is happening within the state. So the preparation will be coming ahead. Just like my PC have said, we have to round up this phase before stepping into another phase. And another interesting thing I want to shed light to: the women, the bank operators that were taken to these various local governments to open an account to these women, it also gives more opportunity to these women to have their voters card.
Okay.
You cannot have an account without presenting your voters card. So through that, these women were mobilized and forced to get their voters card before their account opening, because the grant was paid directly into their account. Exactly. So I want to believe all the 75 women we are having in this project, they all have their voters card at hand.
Okay.
Because of this project.
There's a history to that I would like to shed more light on. You would record my mentioning that at the point of paying individual grants, only one woman had bank accounts, which was more or less not functional at that point. Now, to open bank accounts for these women, they required some sort of instrument for identification, which none of them had. And that period coincided with the time there was a nationwide registration process of permanent voters card. So these projects simply keyed into that moment to facilitate these women to have that instrument of identification. And the easiest one they could lay their hands on at the time was the permanent voters card, and that was what was used to open bank accounts for these women. Now that led to a chain of events that produced unintended impacts of the project in the first instance. For example, it gave a platform for these women to be recognized as stakeholders in the political process prior to them, they were more or less not given that recognition. But because they went through a process of obtaining a permanent voters card with the intention of using that to have their accounts opened to enable them receive grants from the project, the political process saw them as potential allies to be fraternized with. And so these women were fraternized by the politicians at the time, as it were, and to the glory of God, one of the project facilitators emerged as a local government chairman. We had a state steering committee meeting that was held immediately after the elections at that time, and then we had the two local government chairmen there that were members of the committee standing up to say that they owed their victory to the support of these affinity groups. And this was an unintended impact.
Exactly. Okay, Madam Habib Omar, maybe you want to add something?
Yeah. Yes. So just to add to the earlier question you asked about partnership and innovations. One of the partnership that was brought into the Nigerian for Women project is the health insurance linkage.
Okay.
Where women are well sensitized on their health and also introduced into the health insurance scheme, where you pay a certain amount of money, that's 7,200 naira, for the whole year for your health care, which covers sicknesses like malaria, even when a woman gets pregnant, and it covers her antenatal. And if she will have a cesarean section, the health insurance also covers it. Then aside that, there are also health information that is on prevention and promotion of health that they have access to. So this has also given a room for the women to interact more with the health facilities in their communities, where they are advised on what to eat, how to rest, what exercises they should do, how to take care of their homes, sanitation and all that.
Okay.
Then aside that, even before the health insurance linkage, we have seen some communities where women also give social support to these health facilities, which some of them patronize. Like they gather money and renovate some part of the health facility and even provide some commodities for the health facilities. Okay. They have done that in Gurara local government, in Agai local government. So it's a good one that they are now very much aware of their health, because if you are giving someone empowerment, you should also think of health. Because when health issues come, the catastrophic bills from healthcare can even wipe away their capital for the livelihood.
Exactly. Okay, thank you so much. And let's see if we can pick this last call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Dr. Intola.
Morning.
This is MD from Pakungu.
Okay, go ahead, MD.
I welcome you guys to the studio. Dr. Intola, my worry is that if these people being given this loan, these women, if they are not having as a serious orientation, you understand, let's assume most of them are privileged. Most of them should be, even if they are privileged to get this, to access this loan, most of them might not feel like paying because of the situation we find ourselves in this country. So how the organizers are going to do, you understand, find, you understand, to make these people to pay those money back, because that is the problem we're having in this country. People will take loan, later on they will not want to pay those money. You can see even, let me start an example with that Ankobo program, you understand, by CBN, and most of them didn't pay, and that is the problem we're having in this country. So that is my worry.
Okay, thank you so much. Quickly, our time is fast spent.
Okay, thank you. The grant is a grant, it's not a loan. This money was...
That is the first correction.
Yes, it's a grant, it's not a loan. The money is free for the women. So they are not expected to pay any money back. They've been supported with this money to improve their capital in terms of their livelihood activities, to build their capital intensive. So it's not a loan, it's a grant given to them by the federal government.
Oh, okay, quickly,
yes, let me also give a rider to that. Before this loan is taken by these women at the affinity group level, what the project gives them is a non-refundable grant. And before the project give this grant to these women, they must have undergone trainings of the 5 project curriculums which I mentioned earlier. We equip them with the knowledge, and then before this grant is paid, like I mentioned, they undergo training on financial education, business skills, gender and life skills, grievance redress mechanism.
Group
These are group mobilization, and there's also the training on credit and savings. Now, these curriculums are given to them to give them tactical abilities on how to manage their businesses. And by the time they must have graduated from these curriculums, a business plan is written on behalf of these women by a barefoot business counselor, or let me say a project facilitator, if you will. Now, it is this business plan that informs the amount of money that will go to such a beneficiaries in a way of grants. And this is monitored through the project management information system that enables everything the project is doing to be monitored, not just in Niger State here, but in Abuja and Kenya and Washington.
Okay,
as the case may be.
Thank you so much, Malam Sarki Bello. Quickly, before we wrap off, Malama Habiba, can you probably give us how members of the public can establish contact with the Nigerian for Women project, maybe through an email address or phone number or even office address if the need arises?
Okay, we can easily give the office address. Is at Tunga, behind Karima Pharmacy.
Okay.
Yes.
Or they can simply reach us through the Department of Women Affairs in the Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development. I think that would be the easiest.
Okay.
Yes.
And what of for someone maybe who is listening to us somewhere in Kano, in Bauchi and elsewhere, who may wish to get in touch with the Nigerian for Women project?
The project has a website, and we're on Instagram and Instagram X.
And then
you can read on the project.
Okay, the website address is
www.nfwp.gov.ng.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Malam Mohammed Sarki Bello, the state project coordinator, and Aisha to Yunus Marafa, head of operations, as well as Habiba Umar, the behavioral and communication change advisor. We appreciate all your contributions this morning.
Thank you.
And listeners, this is where we come to the end of this discussion this morning. We shall be having the Hausa version on an appointed day very soon, so that for the benefit of our Hausa listeners, you can remain glued to Prestige FM, and we get you informed all the time. And Ibrahim Gimba has been the DCA this morning. Stephen Jia brought us live on our Facebook page, and Memuna Babangida has been the co-anchor in this program. And on behalf of all of this, my name is Mohammed Dantala Ali, hoping that you continue to remain good citizens of Nigeria.